Hello, hello. Um, 1 second, guys. Hello. So, hello everyone. This is Pratik Chauhan. I'll be your MLS instructor. So today we'll be covering web forms. So let me give you a little brief about the web forms, what we are going to cover. In the web forms, today we'll be covering what is web form, what will be the minimum system requirement for the web forms, enabling cookies, how do we clear our browser cache, which browser settings do we need to have in order to access web forms in Chrome, Firefox, Safari, logging into web forms, how do we log in into web forms. So this will be a little introduction about the web forms. How do we create templates in our web forms? How do we create transaction kits from a template or from a scratch, right? Completing a web form, inserting clauses, saving web form, right? So we'll be covering all that part in transaction kit. Then we'll be covering creating transaction kit, printing web forms, printing even a single form or a multiple forms at the same time, renaming the transaction kit, emailing web forms to your clients from the web form web portal, right? We'll be also covering the custom clauses, how do you create your custom clauses, how you can copy the standard clauses to your custom clauses section, and how you can modify it further on, right? Copying and pasting the custom clauses from another applications as well. We'll be covering that as well. So creating clauses, categories, all that stuff we'll be covering, and then we'll be going over to the practicing with web forms. We'll be covering, there will be a one dedicated session in which we'll be only covering how do we practice with web forms for residential freehold, residential condominium, and the commercial, right? So majorly these are the three various templates we'll be covering. What sort of clauses has to be covered up in those particular templates, right? We'll be also covering with the various different tools, working with tools like send email library, right? Adding lawyers information into your web forms. It's the same thing, the way you add your own clauses in those forms is the same way we'll add our lawyer's information in it, right? So we'll be covering that. Saving one line. Okay. Hello, hello. Can you check it out? Hello, hello. Um, Guys, can you please confirm, as we're having some sort of technical difficulties over here, can you please confirm that whether it's working fine? Can you guys hear it or see my screen, shared screen properly or not? No volume? But I didn't do anything. Can you do me a favor? Can you just say anything in this line and I'll check it out?
Hello? Yeah, I'm talking, but hello?
Uh, Hello everyone. Sorry for this technical issue in our today's session. Today we'll be working with web forms. The web forms will be covering what is web form, system requirements, enabling cookies, clearing with clearing your browser cache, right? Browser settings in Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. In order to access web forms, you must have the right browser settings, or otherwise it will not open those web forms, or you cannot add those clauses, right? How you can log into web forms, we'll be covering that. How we can create a template in a web form, right? How we can create a transaction kit in a web form for a particular property, and uh, how we can create a transaction kit from a template or from a scratch, right? Completing a web form, inserting clauses in those web forms, right? And saving web forms, saving it to your computer, right? Emailing it to your client. We'll be also covering creating transaction kits in which emailing web forms will be covered, viewing your send items. So let me tell you one thing, like in those web forms, is kind of an entire email portal. The web forms provide you an entire email portal in which you can not only create a web forms, edit it, view it, but you can also email it to your clients. You can print those forms or you can save those forms directly to your computer. And once you will fill out your information, you don't need to fill out on all the documents. Same thing, once you fill out the seller's information, you don't need to fill out that information on all the forms. It will be taken care by the web forms, right? So seller information and the buyer information, you have to just fill it out once, and afterwards you just need to take care of the clauses and your information, right? So yeah, this is the little brief about creating transaction kits. We'll be covering working with custom clauses today, right? Custom clauses in terms of, because not all the times all the templates we are using the standard templates is perfectly fine, because you need to add those clauses as per the different situations, right? So we'll be covering the custom clauses, how you can copy those standard clauses to your to create custom clauses, right, to your own clauses. So this will be really important, and it plays a vital role when you know how you can play with those clauses, and how you can merge those clauses or edit those clauses into your web forms, right? You can edit, delete, or create clauses as per your need. So this is about the custom clauses, and we'll be covering, not in today's session but probably in the following sessions, practicing with web forms, residential, freehold, residential condominium, and commercial. So we'll be covering all the templates for commercial, residential freehold, or residential condominium. So you will get to know how to fill out those web forms and what are the best practices to fill out those web forms. And working with tools, send email library, saved reminder library, lawyers library, adding a lawyer is basically the same way that we are adding a clause in any web form. right? Working with web forms, managing email signature, manage custom clauses categories. We'll be covering that as well, right? Saving a list attachment. One second. And we'll be covering accessing a legal description. How do we verify it, right? And upgrading older kits and the templates. So if some of the people who are using the web forms older than 2013, will cover that as well. Like if they have created any older transaction kits or the templates at that time, right? How they can use those in today's web form version, right? So we'll help you out in terms of converting it, right? Add-on services will be covering the transaction management and electronic signatures. Like instead of printing it, signing it, scanning it, you can go through your electronic signatures part, and you don't need to go through this part in terms of printing, signing, scanning, and sending it to your client. So you can, in a one shot, you can add your signatures and send it to your client. It'll save your time, as well as it'll be a go green scenario where you'll be saving energy and the trees, right? So let's cover the today's session. Web forms. So guys, let me give you a little brief about web forms. Web Forms is an online database and management system of real estate forms and contracts. Members of participating boards and association can access web forms by logging in to a realtor link from any computer at any time. So TREB members can also access the web forms from the status homepage. So we'll cover how you can log in the web forms through Treb login credentials as well, and as well as the realtor link. One advantage of using the web forms is its ability to integrate members and the MLS database. So once you know any MLS number of any property, right? You just enter it in your web form, and it will get all the information from that MLS number, because MLS numbers and the MLS data is integrated with the web forms, and all the data is saved in that particular database where you can access the information as you need it. Conditionally, that MLS number needs to be active, not to be suspended, and it must be on a trab for at least 2 days, right? So if somebody just posted any property on a tab, and you know the MLS number, but it will not shows on web forms because it takes 2 business days to integrate all the information under the web forms database, right? So logging onto the realtor link verifies your name and the office information. So suppose if you're going through the realtorlink.ca, it will verify your name and your office information the moment you enter your username and the password, right? And which will be automatically inserted into the forms you choose to generate. So you don't need to enter those information again and again. So once you entered your username and a password, so whatever the forms you are going to create, it it will have your information, and it will authenticates you that you are the right person who are accessing those forms, right? The property address and the legal description from the status data is also accessed through the web forms, so you don't need to go back to treb. You can do that part from the web forms as well, and can be auto populated in the form and saving you a valuable time. So this is a really great feature. The way they have integrated the MLS system, MLS entire database with the web forms is amazing, because you just need to know a one MLS number, or if you even don't know the MLS number, you know the address, you just put the address and it will get you all the information you need, right? Conditionally, that MLS number has to be active and must be on MLS database for 2 business days at least. So the another advantage of using the web forms is its ability to create, edit, and email agreement from your mobile devices even though. So you don't need to even work on your computer, workstation, laptop, or your server in order to create those web forms. You can use your mobile or your tablet to build, to create, edit, or email those agreements to your clients. The current version of the web forms uses the HTML5, which cross browser friendly from all devices. So that's a really good news that whatever the device you have, until unless it's is having a latest browser and the latest plugins, you can use the device for your web forms. So let's cover the system requirements. So we have covered what is web form. So let's cover the system requirements. Since the web forms is an internet based application, so you will not need to purchase any kind of software for your computer in order to access web form, right? Instead, you will access those web form server through the internet when you need to create a new form or a contract or alter an existing one, right? I'll cover it within a few minutes. How do you access those web forms? But let's cover what sort of requirements do you need in your computer in order to access those web form. A computer or a mobile device or a tablet with a minimum of HTML5 compliant browser, right? High speed internet, right? And the operating system is a must. Minimum of Windows Vista, even though the Windows Vista is outdated, right? But still, the web form is fully compliant with Windows Vista 7, 8, or 10. 8.1 as well, right? And in those Windows platform based operating systems, you can use the browsers like Internet Explorer with a minimum version of 9. Then you can use 9, 10, 11, but you cannot use older than 9. For the Google Chrome, the baseline is the 27th version. You cannot use 26th version. If you're trying to do that, your web forms will not open and it will give you an error. Even if it opens up, it will not work efficiently. Um, Mozilla Firefox, the version will be 22nd, right? For the Apple line, Mountain Lion, there will be a Safari of the version of 6, right? So these all the versions are assigned by the web forms technical team, right? So whenever possible, ensure that your computer is up to date with the most current version of your browser, right? The web forms 4.11 doesn't specifically require Adobe Reader. You can create your forms, edit them, email them without the benefit of Adobe, right? However, if you want to print a web form, you'll need a PDF reader. Some of the latest browsers have a resident PDF readers, right? So basically, like if you need to use web forms, you don't need a Adobe PDF reader, because for emailing it, for editing it, for viewing it, you don't need it. But just in case if you need to print it, then only you need it, right? If you want to open a form created in an earlier version of the web forms, prior to the January 2013, you will still need Adobe Reader, because in the today's version of the web forms, they have compiled the Adobe plugins with their software. But in the older version, you'll always need Adobe Reader in order to work on the web forms. To edit a form created in the earlier version, you need to convert the entire transaction kit to which the form belongs, right? So, if you need any further help with the converting those transaction kits or the templates, you can contact us at any time and we can help you out, right? So, let's cover the enabling cookies. This is really important and it will really help you out, because if your cookies are not enabled in your browser, if suppose if you're using the Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Firefox, then your web browsers will not work. Whatever the browser you're using, you should check it out to ensure that you have your cookies enabled. Browser cookies must be enabled for the forms clauses to functional properly. If somebody doesn't know what is a cookie, then I can help you out. Cookie is, let me explain it to you. Some websites store information like in a small text form on your computer, right? And that file is called a cookie. It tells the website that you have been there before, and the site can then retrieve your personal settings, right? In the web forms that include your transaction kits and the custom clauses. To use web forms, you want to ensure that the cookies are not blocked by your browser, right? And to enable cookies, I'll help you out with the different browsers. Let's open one by one. Guys, can you please open Internet Explorer? If the Internet Explorer users are there, open an Internet Explorer by clicking on Start, going over to All Programs, and then you'll find Internet Explorer. I'll give you about 10 seconds, 15 seconds to open that. Okay, so once it's open, click on this Tools, and then click on the Internet options. Over there, go over to Privacy and make sure this bar stays at the medium level. Once you adjust this bar to the medium level, I would like you to turn off this pop-up blocker and hit apply and hit OK. So this is how you enable cookies. It's fairly simple. Step number one, click on Tools. Step number two, click on options, right? And step number three, click on Privacy. Then turn off the pop-up blocker, and it has to be go down. Hit OK, and that's how you can enable cookies in your browser. How you can clear your browser's cache. Cache is basically to prevent problems when retrieving or saving forms. It's one of the best practices, has always been recommended from the web forms technical team, that to clear your browser cache before start working on any web form session, right? So I'll help you out. Let's cover one by one, because as we have like Internet Explorer browser already open, let's clear the cache on this, and then we'll cover the Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, and the Safari later on, right? So click on this settings gear, click on Internet options. Under the browsing history, right? Hit click delete button, and from there choose temporary internet files and the website files. Hit delete. As you can see, Internet Explorer has finished deleting the selected browsing history. Hit apply. OK. Right. So this is how you can clear cache. You can enable cookies in Internet Explorer. Let me cover a Google Chrome as well. So for the Google Chrome users, open Google Chrome by clicking on Start, All Programs, and you'll find Google Chrome over there. For the Google Chrome, click on this settings gear menu, click on settings. Under settings, you will find advanced settings. Click on advanced. Over there, you'll find a privacy section. This is a privacy section, right? So make sure the cookies are not blocked by default. So let's find cookies over here. One second, guys. Not able to find cookies. Here you go. I just typed over there cookies, and under the privacy section, the last option is a clear browsing data, cookies, and all that stuff. So this is how, first of all, you clear your cache, right? Like just enable this and clear browsing cache, right? And let's find where you can get hold on your cookies, because they have changed this entire browser settings. And uh, here you go. So under content settings, so under the privacy section, if you click on the content settings, the cookies allow sites to save and read cookie data recommended. So right now, block third-party cookies is not blocked, right? Allow cookies is allowed, right? So these are the cookies you can say. So cookies are enabled by default now. So this is how you can enable cookies in this Google Chrome, right? We have covered the cache as well. How do you clear the cache? So for the Mozilla Firefox, I don't have a Mozilla Firefox installed at the moment, but let me just quickly install Mozilla Firefox, because in that way I can show to you for all the users how do you clear cache, enable cookies for all of those browsers. If you And afterwards we also have to cover Safari. Right now it's installing Mozilla Firefox. So give it about 1 or 2 minutes. Right now I don't have the Safari browser installed in my computer, so we cannot cover the Safari, but rest all the browsers we are going to cover it today, right? And 1 second, it should be good to go. Give it about 2 to 3 minutes. So this is your Mozilla Firefox. So in a Mozilla Firefox, let's cover how do we enable cookies, right? To ensure the cookies are enabled, click on Tools, and under Tools, click on Options. Once your options are opened, click on Privacy on the left hand side. Under Privacy, make sure over here it must say accept all the cookies. As they have changed the entire interface, give me about 1 more minute. So you can see the Firefox will remember your browsing, download, form, search, or keep cookies from the websites you visit. So it's automatically enabled in the newer version of the Firefox. If you're using the older version, you must see the bar over here which says like, do you want to enable cookies or you accept cookies from sites, and you have to hit yes, right? So this entire interface is changed, and this is really good because nowadays a majority of the websites are preferring cookies enabled. Hello. Okay, so afterwards, let's cover the clear cache in Firefox. So same thing under Tools, Options, Advanced Panel, and from there click the Network tab. Once you have opened the network tab, you must see the cache web content. It should be clear now. Now, as you can see, the moment you hit clear now, the cache web content clears all the cache, right? So before even working on the web forms, this is a 1 minute job. I would recommend to all of you to do it on your personal laptop or a computer or a workstation, right? That will really help you out. So let's cover how to log in your web forms, right? So So if you're going under your Toronto MLS, right, enter the Trebs user ID, PIN, and authenticator password. Once you are logged in, you can see on your home page that the web forms are at the top right hand side, right over there, right above the realtor's tool. You can find the web forms over there. So click on web forms. Web forms is a password protected site. However, when you are accessing it via Stratus, your username and a password are automatically transmitted to Realtor link, right? So that's why you don't need to enter the username or a password, or otherwise, you must need to enter a username and a password before accessing this web forms. You may log out of Stratus homepage and close its window, right? Over here you can see the welcome window, right? The welcome page, the name of the person who owns the authenticator from which we entered in, right, is a Lena, right? Then you can see the home, help. You can even view this entire page in French language, and this is the logout, right? The moment you click on home, it will take you to the home page. So suppose if you are open a closet or something like that, the moment you click it on, it will take you to the home page. So this is how that you can log in to uh, to web forms through Strata software. But there's another way as well. You can use a realtor link dot ca. One second, is not opening. This is another way of opening web forms. Realtorlink.ca. I think their server is down. That's why it's not opening this page. Once it's opened, you have to enter your board or association credentials. You have to select your board, and then you have to enter your user ID and a password and then sign in. Then only you can access those web forms. But that's the good news that we access through the Strata software. Otherwise, we won't be able to access this through the realtorlink.ca, right? So this is how like you access the web forms. Web forms are located right on your home page the moment you sign into your status, right? If you are a mobile or a tablet users, then you have to enter webforms.realtorlink.ca in order to access web forms through the tablet or the mobile phone. So webforms.realtor.ca. But right now, here you go. So right now we have already logged in to this session. That's why it didn't ask us like for any username or a password. But this is how like it will open once you have your information, username and a password already entered, right? Will not ask you. So if you'll have any questions, if you're stuck anywhere, if you don't know your board, your association, your user ID or a password for the realtorlink.ca, then you can call Treb Help Desk at 416-443-8111, right? So in this part, like we have covered the cookies. clearing browser cache, browser settings in Chrome, Firefox. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cover up the Safari, but we have covered the Internet Explorer, right? Logging into web form, logging in from Stratus or through the realtor link.c. Unfortunately, the realtor link, the server is down. That's why we cannot do it, but we have also covered the logging in from a mobile device as well. So now let's cover the templates, right? How we can create a template in a web form, right? It's fairly easy, right? These are the few steps that we need to follow in order to create a template. So let's do it. Right? So the templates are the great time savers. Like if you work with some forms and clauses often, right? You can have a template for each type of the transaction. For example, like if you have a template for your freehold transactions, your condominium transactions, or your commercial lease transactions, right? So these are the basic transactions. Like in every day, a realtor uses these web forms, so you can have those transactions like for the freehold, commercial, condominium, residential freehold, right? So it'll really help you out to create a template for each of these type, right? We will cover in our following sessions how to create those templates, how to actually practice working with those templates, right? So let's log into your web forms, right? And from your web form, click on the template, right? As now you can see, it says you currently have no saved template. To create a new template, click on the new template button. So here you go, click on the new template button, right? If you once you have created a templates, it must have says over there that the templates have been created. You can use those templates, but let's give it a name, right? Once you click on the click a new create new template, right? You can give it a name like the buyer freehold sale, right? And like for this one, like I like to choose a empty template, right? Instead of a copying from the existing kit, I like to go ahead with the empty transaction kit or the template, and from there we can click on next, and now you can see all the forms, right? um, in this, basically all the forms you can see, right? The form numbers is written on the right, right? On the extreme left there's an option to add. The moment you click on add, this form is added into your template forms. So if you want to remove it, click on this remove button, right? Okay, so like this is a template we are creating it, right? So from this forms, from this, like there's an option for all forms, provincial forms, or a board forms, right? You can select either of these, right, as per your need, or from the appropriate jurisdiction side as well. Click on the drop down menu for besides the view, uh, from over there. Like I'll click on the all forms, and then I have an option for the residential listing, sales, and all that things, right? So as per your need, you can pick and choose as per your requirement. So we'll select the all forms at the moment, and in our first example, what we are going to do, we are going to cover a few of the forms. Let's put agreement of purchase. One second. Agreement of purchase and sale. So select this as edit, right? If you want to view it like before adding it, you can click and preview it. Like you can see like all of the information is written over there, right? You can view it. Second, we need it like a schedule A and a schedule B, right? Schedule. So now you can see the schedules, right? So we need schedule 105. So let's add schedule 105. Next, we need a buyer representation. Buyer representation. Buyer representation agreement. Uh, Form number 300. Yes, this is the one, buyer representation agreement, authority for purchase and lease. So select this, right? And then we need corporation. Uh, Here you go. This is the one like which will give you a stamp for your payments. And afterwards, like you have working with realtor. Here you go, 810. So you need this one. And the last one you need is individual. Yes, individual identification information record, ORIA 630. Right, so these are the forms like we needed like in our first example where we are working on residential freehold, a buyer's freehold sale, right? So once you have like all of these forms added over there, you can either choose an option to rename any one of them as per your need. Like this is a schedule and you can say this is schedule A, right? Rename it, and now you can see it's renamed. And whatever are the templates having an option to insert clauses, it will clearly says that you can insert clauses for these two web forms, right? Template forms. So you can choose insert clauses and it will give you an option to what sort of clauses do you want to insert, right? So standard clauses or custom clauses you can pick and choose, right? Cancel at this moment, like I don't like to insert any clauses, right? It is not always necessary to select a category. You can use the search list for the field to find a form by either its number or a name. Like suppose if you don't know the name, if you know the just a form number one or two, just type it over there, it will bring down the form. Or if you don't know the number, just the one keyword like buyer will bring down all the options, all the forms related to the buyer. Like these are all the forms are related to the buyer, right? So this is how like you have to select it, pick and choose what option is good for you, right? In most of my cases, like I pick and choose like the naming conventions. It's easy for me. It's hard to remember those numbers, right? So this is how like you can search it. And there's another option. If you need your forms in a French language, then click on French and it will bring down all the forms in a French language. Like it's really, really, really cool, right? So this is how like you can add those forms, right? And afterwards, if you are unfamiliar with the form, click on preview before adding it to the template forms, right? So like from over there, you can click on preview and the form will open and you can review it before adding it to your actual forms, right? So now if you want a specific form to open first when you create a transaction kit from your template, then yes, you can do that, but just hover over your mouse, and then drag it to top or to the bottom as per your need, right? So you can see this four head arrow. This gives you an option to move those forms up and down as per your need. If you'll have, if the forms that you have added spot clauses, then you may add them. How you can add the clauses? I've already explained it to you by just clicking on the insert clauses option. Click on the insert clauses, and it'll give you an option inside that form. You can add those clauses. These are the standard clauses, and these are the custom clauses that you can copy and paste from your another application and put it over here, right? So these are one of the best practices that use those clauses whenever you need it instead of neglecting it, because it can really save your time and protect your buyer, right? So like, suppose if I added this clause, insert clause into the template, and now you can see inside this there will be that clause, right? So it's that easy that you have to click on the clause and add a particular clause whatever you need to, right? And hit OK and insert it, and then you once you'll be going over, you'll be seeing inside this form the clause is already there, right? So then click on create and save template. Now you can see under templates, before we hit the create new template, but now we already have a buyer freehold sale, and it has a today's date as in a modified and the today's date as in a created, but later on you can see these dates will be different, right? So click on the template, buyer freehold sale template, and now you can see that these forms are already there, right? The agreement of purchase, schedule A, agreement of purchase and sale, right? Buyer representation agreement, authority of purchase and sale. So 300, 320, 810, working with the realtor, right? FinTrack, individual identification information record, ORIA 630. So like this is the way that you can create your own template. You can insert forms to the template and add clauses to the template, right? So if you want to make a copy, you can just make a copy and give it a name, seller docs, something like that. And now you can see a seller docs and the buyer freehold sale, and you can edit this add and remove forms by clicking on add and remove, and you can delete any of those forms, modify any of the clauses for your seller part, right? So like this is how it's fairly simple, it's extremely user friendly, right? It'll really help you out in order to make your life easy. So let's cover the transaction kit, right? How you can create a transaction kit. For creating a transaction kit, like you need to be logged into the web forms. Once you logged in, right, you can open the transaction kit. Let me just cancel this, and the first option is a transaction kit, right? By clicking on the transaction kit, you can see right now we don't have any pre-saved transaction kits, right? If we do, then we can just type it and search it those transaction kits. But in most of our cases, like for our each home, there will be a unique transaction kit. So let's go over to creating a new transaction kit from a template, right? To create a new transaction kit, you can start off with an empty transaction kit. A template or a copy of an existing transaction kit will really help you out. So hit create new transaction kit. Over here, just type the name of the transaction kit and then the email ID. So I'm entering my personal email ID. right? MLS number is optional. If you don't know MLS number, then click on search. It will get you the house number and the street number, right? So let's find, one second. Let me just search it because this is extremely powerful, huh? It can really, really help you down in order to make your search extremely helpful. So let's just open any of the property in Brampton, and Jacksonville, right? So this property, we know the MLS number, but just enter this information, Jacksonville Drive 18. And I just want to see will it bring down the MLS information and house information. 18. Search MLS. Here you go. So means if you just know the house address, you can search it in your web forms and it will get you the MLS details and all that stuff. So now you can see you have your MLS number. So over here, I'm just entering the Jacksonville Drive, right? Right now, like I don't have any template ready or good to go. So I like to go with an empty transaction kit, or as we just created the residential one, we like to go with a buyer freehold. So let's do the template and then we'll go ahead with an empty transaction kit, right? So select the template, and there's a radio button right over there. Select this and then select the buyer's freeholder and click on next, right? You can add remove those forms as per your need. Now you can see in your buyer's freehold form, your these forms are already added, but the moment you delete it, it will not delete it from the template. You're just modifying your transaction kit. There's a difference. So once you've created the template, right, and you're using your template inside your transaction kit, that doesn't mean once you're modifying your transaction kit or any forms in it, it will not delete any of the forms from the actual template. So you'll be good to go even if you're deleting any of those forms, right? To add any forms is fairly simple. Like you have to add those information like buyer, right? Or let's add another schedule, right? Because we also need a schedule B, right? Yeah. So let's add a schedule and let's rename it. Rename. So now you can see schedule A and schedule B. Let's move it. So this is how you change a order in your actual forms. Because once you're printing or sending it over to your client, like it has to be in the right order, which looks and makes more sense that a person who is on the other side is fully compliant to do your job, right? Adding or removing forms does not alter the template. As I've already explained it to you, it only makes the changes to your specific transaction kit that you're creating, right? If you want a specific form to open first, then I have explained it to you that this is how you can change a order of any form by just moving over your mouse to this transaction kit forms specific form. When you'll see the four-headed arrow, just select any of the form and move up and down. It will change the order, and afterwards hit create and save transaction kit. Once you have done it, now this is a great part. You can see the form number 100 and the information is right over there. If you click on the view options and select the option of highlighted fields, click on the highlighted fields and hit close, and now you can see the information which we need to fill out is highlighted in blue color, right? And the good part is the seller's information, the address, and the lot information, the legal description is already there. You must be surprised how, but the answer is to your question is, we have put the MLS details, and from as this entire um, web forms integrates with the MLS database as well. This will give us an option to add the seller's information and the address and the MLS information and the legal description automatically in the form, right? So in the buyer section, you have to just enter once and rest all the forms. As you will see, all the details for the buyer will be pasted, right? So you can put the date of the uh, purchase and sale, just put today's date, right? And once you have entered a, a dollar amount like 750, right, automatically is purchase price is written over here, right? So we just enter the numeric values, and the purchase price actual wordings is written over there, right? So this is the power of um, um, web forms, right? So this is how like you can use your web forms. If you enter an MLS number that is not in the MLS database on the web form server, then it will not bring down any of the information which we are seeing already. Then we have to manually enter the information, right? So it will even give you an error of mistyped, non-active, or the property not spotted error, right? If the property has been loaded in the Toronto MLS as in a recent as today, it may not be in the realtor.ca or ixn.ca for another day, right? If you attempt to use this, the property MLS number, you may see an error because of the web forms will not able to find the MLS number in their public listings. If the MLS number being entered is from a property in the board other than the TREB, you will get an error asking to confirm the MLS number. Click on to change the board link on the MLS forms. Okay, so this is how like you can create those web forms in your web form, right? So thank you so much for your time, as we have covered few of the important topics like creating templates, creating transaction kits, right? Um, so next week, what we'll do, we'll be working on the clauses, and we'll be practicing with the web forms for the residential freehold, residential condominium, and the commercial. I'm your host, Pratik Chauhan. Thank you so much for your time. I'll see you next week on Saturday at 10 a.m. Thank you so much. Bye bye.